Welcome one and all, Nyanko here, and today I am going to be talking about a classic anime series that we all know and we all love, well, most people love anyway, called Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Now, I'm going to be talking about this one because it is the faithful adaptation of the manga, and I won't be talking about the 2003 one that kind of followed it loosely, well, followed it in the beginning and then diverted heavily towards the end. Because there wasn't enough content. But yeah, so I'm talking about Brotherhood. It's epic. I'm just going to read you the back of it if you don't know what it is. So, Edward and Alphonse Elric's reckless disregard for alchemy's fundamental laws ripped half of Ed's limbs from his body and left Owl's soul clinging to a cold suit of armour. To restore what was lost, the brothers scour a war-torn land for the Philosopher's Stone, a fabled relic which grants the ability to perform alchemy in impossible ways. The Elrics are not alone in their search. The corrupt military state is eager to harness the artifact's power. So too are the strange homunculi and their shadowy creator. The mythical stone lures exotic alchemists from distant kingdoms, scarring some deeply enough to inspire murder. As the Elrics find their course altered by these enemies and allies, the purpose remains unchanged and their bond unbreakable. So yeah, as you can see, I have the full box set. I'll show you actually the individual ones because they kept all the individual artworks and covers and stuff, and I think they're really cool, so I like to show them off. Roy Mustang, best boy. So yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about Fullmetal at this point. If you haven't watched it, please explain to me why. Because I remember watching the original 2003 one, and I remember really liking that and thinking it was awesome because it was one of the first animes that I watched that made me really realise that it wasn't just cartoons for kids, as my dad used to call it, that this was an actual really deep storytelling medium. And I was like, oh, I need more of this, because like up until that point I think I was like 14 when I first saw the original Fullmetal, and I hadn't really seen anything. Well, no, I was 13 when I saw the original Fullmetal, and you know, it was gritty. It was like the story was just so good that I was like, oh, and I didn't realise that it wasn't the full manga, and I actually didn't read the manga until many years later. I have read the manga because I have the big 3-in-1 volumes of it and I read through them. But I really like Brotherhood because it's the best retelling. So it got greenlit back in like 2011 for them to do a new one, which was Brotherhood. And then the thing that I think really solidifies it as one of the best anime adaptations in anime history for me is the fact that it was due to finish before the manga finished, and the mangaka didn't want the creation, like the really great storytelling, to divert again and it to not get the right ending. So her ending was due, like it was coming to a close, so the manga was coming to a close, and the anime was coming to a close around the same time. So what she did was she let the anime studio know of what was going to happen ahead of time so that they could faithfully adapt it, and so there wouldn't be a difference between the manga and the anime ending, and it would be the full complete, you know, work of it, which was great. So that for me is one of the reasons why it's so great, because technically they could have diverted off again and given it a completely different ending again, and then you might have ended up with a third adaptation. But I mean, it was great. They stayed true to all of the manga characters. They kept in the majority of the manga storylines. As far as I'm aware, they do. So it's, you know, you can read the manga or you can watch the anime, and there's not much difference between the two. You'll get the full storyline from beginning to end. And it's just really nice to go on the story with Al and Ed, and with Winry as well, because she's kind of a big part of it. But I think the thing for me that made like Brotherhood just so amazing was all the different complexities in it. So you have Alphonse and Ed and Al, sorry, looking for ways to get their body back. When they find out that getting their bodies back isn't going to be as easy as they originally thought, they then still keep going, and they still keep looking for new ways, and they still keep hope. But then everything else in the background's happening. So you've got all the homunculus and the homunculi who are causing issues and problems. You then find out what the Philosopher's Stone really is. You then have the characters who are trying to help Ed and Al on their journey realise what the Philosopher's Stone really is as well, and then they get a bit dejected. Like, they all kind of get dejected, but then they brush themselves off, pick themselves back up. You've got the political storylines going on in the background with the military state. So you have like Roy Mustang fighting against King Fuhrer Bradley because he realises that he's in on everything that's going on. You've got Olivia Armstrong, who is badass mama. I love her. And she really makes Lieutenant Armstrong, Louis Armstrong, look absolutely like weak-ass crybaby in comparison, when he isn't. It's just, she doesn't even have alchemy, and she has just beaten the crap out of her brother over like succession and stuff, and it forces their family, like their little sister and their mum and their dad, to leave, and they go on holiday, so like, get out of the country, go. You've then got the other political backstory in it, with you've got Ling, who becomes Greed's host, and his little half-sister, I forget her name. May. Yes, it's May, because she falls in love with Alphonse, and I ship that. And them vying over getting the Philosopher's Stone first to take it back to their own kingdom, because it's like a right of succession, because their king is dying, who is like all of their fathers. And then there's all their internal politics and them overcoming that. And it's just, it's so good. I don't understand why people hate on it, because there's no plot holes that I can see in the storyline. You know, you've got the brotherly love aspect, and you've got them desperately trying to find a way to return to how they were. You've got their love of their country and of the people, and helping the people out, and then realising that all of these people are in danger. So, they start putting themselves in harm's way to save the country and the people. You've got their relationship with their friends, so and they're wanting to protect their friends. You've also got the love story between Winry and Winry and Ed that's playing out in the background as well. That's really cool. You've got Hawkeye and Roy's kind of will they, won't they kind of thing, and you know that they won't because of the hierarchy in the military, but you kind of always are hoping that they will, because I ship that so hard. You've got Azumi and her husband and their storyline in the background, and I really like how that gets resolved in Brotherhood and in the manga. So in the 2003 version, when it went off put, the homunculi are all made out of failed alchemy attempts to bring back the dead. And so technically all of these ones who are homunculi are actually the souls of the dead come back to life. Whereas in Brotherhood, that's not the case. And it gives them some closure, and it helps them move on and realise, I didn't put my loved one through immense pain a second time, which I thought was really good. But there's also characters that come in that you don't meet in the 2003 version, that you meet in the manga, and that play a big part in the anime. And I love them all because they're kind of like experiments from the state, and then they become great. And then you've got the full Scar arc that plays out, and I probably could go into great depths and spoil everything because if you haven't seen it at this point, but you're kind of asking for spoilers, but at the same time I don't want to, because if you're like new to anime and you don't know much about it and you then go and watch it because of my review, I want you to be surprised. I want you to have the feels. I want you to like have the experience of watching it with fresh eyes for the first time, because for me that was something that I really enjoyed. Watching Fullmetal weekly as it came out was just, oh, I absolutely loved it. And then I got the DVDs, and I actually have met quite a few of the voice cast, and I've got my DVDs signed. So like, there's J. Michael Tatum on here, who plays Scar in this one. There's Chuck Huber on it, who, as we all know, plays Nina's father, Tucker, like the worst dad ever in history. There's Caitlin Glass as well. I met Caitlin Glass like back in 2015? 2014. Oh, and oh, she's lovely. So definitely, you know, the voice cast is great. So like English and Japanese, I've seen it in both, are amazing. I actually prefer the English slightly more because they cast a man as Ed. Not anything against Romy Park, I love her, but she just sounds, sometimes she can sound very feminine when she's screaming, and I'm like, no. I just like the male voice that they have for Ed. It's great. I like the fact that it was a male that voiced him. I really like who they got as well to voice Al, because in the 2003 one, Al is voiced by Aaron Dismuke, but his voice broke after filming the movie, like the movie that went around in 2003, and so I was like, oh no, who are they going to get to be Al in the remake when I heard about it, because, you know, you obviously couldn't have Aaron do it anymore. And they got Maxie Whitehead, who I really like, from a small show called Princess Jellyfish, which will be in a video soon. So yeah, she's really good as Al. And then they did, actually, it was really nice, they have Aaron come back and play young Hohenheim, who is their father, and I thought that played out really nicely. So they brought back all of the old cast from the 2003 one into the 2011 one, and then they added new cast members where they had to, or old cast members that could no longer reprise the role got a new role, and I thought that was really good. So yeah, Fullmetal for me is just one that is up there with like best anime, and it's one that whenever anyone asks me for recommendations when they're new, I always say Fullmetal. Like, you know, if you want something that's got action, it's got drama, it's got love, it's got like great characters, it's got great writing, I would always recommend Fullmetal for anybody who's starting up with anime, or even if you're just, say if you're newer to anime, so like the newer animes from the past like 5 years, and you want something that's a bit more gritty and a bit more, you know, with a bit more substance, that's the word, than some of the newer stuff, because a lot of the newer stuff is like, in a new world with my smartphone, and there's plenty of isekais to go around, but there's not that many Fullmetal shows around anymore that I can think of. I'm trying to think of anything in the past 5 years that's even remotely close to Fullmetal in terms of just storytelling, and I'm really struggling. So yeah, no, I highly recommend rewatching Fullmetal if you haven't watched it in a while. If you've never seen it at all, do give it a go. It's great. It's one of the classics that I highly recommend to anyone. It's great for newbies, it's great for veterans, to the anime watching universe. But yeah, other than that, my kittens, I'm going to probably leave off there. I'm going to give you all of my love and remind you to eat something, drink something, and no forgetting any medications if you're on them. See you next time, my lovelies. Ciao!